everybody, I just wanted to post a little tutorial today in case you have some little canvases laying around and you're not sure what to do with them. You can do this on any size canvas. I have this small little mini one and I'm going to put a colorful quote on it today. So the first step in getting everything ready was to pick a quote. I googled a quote that was kind of shorter because I know that my canvas is small, and I picked one that I love, which is "You're amazing just the way you are," because I truly do believe that we are all amazing the way that we are, and we need to accept ourselves for who we are. And I like to be reminded of that because I think we all need to keep that reminder. So I've got that quote, and I took a piece of scrap paper or an index card. I love index cards because they're really inexpensive and they have lines on one side, so if you want to write something out, like an idea, you can, and then on this side, you can write the quote. So the first thing I did with my card to prepare my quote and to kind of sketch it out so I have an idea of what I want to do, the first way is just to separate your canvas into wavy lines, and they can go opposite, under, however. It just looks like a bunch of hills. I would probably try to avoid having this super small space, but that can actually be kind of cool depending on what your quote is. And then you're going to write in the words of your quote, but the letters are going to touch the top line and the bottom line. And you're planning this out, so if something doesn't go quite according to plan, you can absolutely erase, change it up. So for my word amazing here, I definitely want to start out making it smaller because it's a long word. And you've got to make some decisions about how you're going to split your quote up. If it's a very long quote, you will need more sections. And that's why we pre-plan when we're making art. Sometimes things work out and we have some luck, but it really helps, especially when you're using materials like a canvas that could be a little bit more expensive. You want to take your time and do the work to plan that out. And your hard work will pay off. Now, if you're really advanced with fonts and you really like making things fancy, now is the time to do that. You can Google it. Each line can be its own font, however you want to do that. So I'm happy with the way that I have this, so now I'm going to draw it on my canvas. Remember, the canvas has this texture, and sometimes we would prime a canvas and we would use gesso to do that. That's G-E-S-S-O. If you have a white paint and you want to give it a quick wash with that white paint and let it dry, that's ideal because that seals this surface and it makes it a little bit less toothy. Otherwise, just jump right in with your pencil and go for it. So I'm going to go for it. Okay, so I've got my quote sketched on here with a pencil, and I had to make some adjustments because my canvas is very skinny. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a Sharpie marker. If whatever size you have will be fine. I really like the chisel tip. I find that the larger the marker, the more control I feel like I have. This fine point one is probably perfect. If you have an extra fine point, just be careful because your canvas, depending on how it's baffled in the back, you could actually put a hole in it with that one, so be gentle with it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use my Sharpie, and I'm going to trace the letters and the wavy line that I made on my canvas with Sharpie. If you don't have a Sharpie marker or another colored permanent marker, and I'm using black because you'll see in the next step why, you can use a fine detail brush and you can outline it. Now it will take some work and you'll have to refresh your brush quite often, but it's not impossible. You just have to have a lot of patience. So I'm going to go ahead and outline this and we'll get started on our next step. Okay, I like to protect my work surface whenever I'm painting, especially if I'm using an acrylic paint. So you need to take a look at the paints that you're going to use if you have paints. If you're using Sharpie, same thing. Now Sharpie can clean up with an alcohol wipe or alcohol spray or even hand sanitizer. But I'm using acrylic paint, so I've got, this is Press and Seal. I love Press and Seal, and I just have that down on my workspace, and I have my paint right on my Press and Seal. You can use a paper plate for a palette. I even saw a tutorial where someone used bottle water caps glued to a lid, and that was pretty genius. So, you know, whatever you want to use. So now I'm going to use this acrylic paint, and I'm going to paint a different color in each of these spaces. Whenever I'm painting around something, I like to paint right up next to it, sort of like I'm painting a fence. So I'll paint around it, and then I'll color in the center. And I don't have blue paint. For whatever reason, I grabbed every color but blue. So I'm going to use these colors, and I'm just going to go through and illustrate this. So now that I've filled in all of the little spaces, there were some times that I got outside of the lines and I colored over my black marker. So now is the time where you can come in with your Sharpie marker after it's all dry, and you can touch up any letters that need touched up. And mine's not quite dry, so I'm going to give this a minute to dry, and then I'm going to pop in and get some of these letters fixed up. And this is a really nice, just kind of meditative project to do. You don't have to worry about being perfect. And you get to look and stare at this amazing positive message, which really helps get through some of these boring days. All right, guys. It was great to hang with you. I hope you're doing well. See you later, alligators.